Hello, my dear students. Welcome to all of you on my YouTube channel. I'm very delighted to see you here. So, this is the second lecture, and in technical sense, this is lecture 1A of our history optional syllabus. I have already uploaded two videos on history optional. No, not two, it's three. Okay, in first video, I have discussed that how NCERT books are relevant for your history optional, and in one video, I have discussed about the importance of history optional and topic 1. But whatever, if you have watched my previous videos, I mean to say that I've already announced that I am going to deal with this entire history optional syllabus, okay, in a topic wise format. It means the total 51 topics that are given in your history optional syllabus, I will discuss that, and along with that I will also discuss all the subtopics that have been included in your syllabus. So this is the basic idea. Now this is lecture 1A because the lecture 1, the topic 1 of your syllabus is sources for Indian history. Okay, and now there are three subtopics in that topic 1. One is archaeological sources for Indian history. The second subtopic is literary sources for Indian history. And the third subtopic is foreign sources for Indian history. So there are three subtopics, and I have included one more topic, and that is historical perspective and PYQs that are related to that. Okay, so this is going to be the first subtopic within the topic sources for Indian history, and this topic is archaeological sources for Indian history. So from today I will start with the topic directly. Okay, so from now onwards we will discuss the topic only. We are not going to discuss other stuff in our classes. So we will be focused on content, what we have to study, on the questions, that previous year questions that has been asked, and the strategy we will keep discussing in our classes. Okay, so if you are a UPSC aspirant and if you want to get quality rich content, if you want to get the history optional lectures which are very much relevant to the demand of UPSC, so you can watch our videos. And I request each and every student, those who are watching my videos, just compare my classes with the other classes, because nowadays it is very easy. The market is very competitive and all the teachers are putting their lectures online. So before joining any course, just what you have to do, you have to do a comparative study. Okay, and then you should join for a history optional program, because this optional is going to play very crucial role in your selection. Okay, so be wise, be mature while taking the decision. Now we are coming to the topic. This is the first subtopic, archaeological sources for Indian history. Now in this subtopic, first I will use boardwork sketches like I have already discussed in my previous videos, and you should also try to make running notes, okay, during the classes. And once the classes are finished, you will be provided with the PDF notes of the topics, right? So here, the sources of history, this is the topic that we have to discuss, sources of history. And within this topic, the subtopic we are discussing here, and that is archaeological sources. This is the subtopic, archaeological sources for Indian history. Okay, now why sources of history are important? Because history are the events that had taken place in the past, and now we are doing what? We are reconstructing the past events. And while reconstruction of the past events, or we can say that while studying Indian history, while reconstruction of the past events in a comprehensive manner, okay, we need these sources. Because while reconstruction, one of the most important challenge in history is the fair and objective assessment of the past. And this challenge, you can say, is one of the biggest challenge in the reconstruction of history, because whenever we are trying to create an accurate picture of the past, it's not possible completely. That is why whenever we talk about history, So we talk about multiple perspectives, right? So in history also there are many new discoveries, okay, that very often comes across. So here, for a fair and objective assessment of the past, the sources play a very much important role. And with these sources, we try to get a complete picture of the past. But I will also say that that complete picture or the complete reality, okay, it's not possible to claim that we have the complete reality of the past, but near to that reality, this is our effort that with these sources we try to reach. Okay, now these sources, according to your syllabus, have broadly been categorized into three parts. So the first part is archaeological sources, the second part is literary sources, and the third part is foreign accounts. Okay, now the question arises, what are these sources? And the second question is, comparatively, which source should be considered as the most authentic and most important source? So this challenge is a great challenge, right? Now, when we talk about these literary sources, yeah, I will discuss in detail what are the literary sources, but you must have some idea about the literary sources. For example, Vedic period compositions, Buddhist compositions, Jain compositions. Okay, there are so many things in literary compositions I will discuss later. So when we talk about literary texts, there is a problem with these literary texts, that initially all the knowledge was in the form of what? Oral tradition of knowledge. This is one major limitation. Okay, because paper was invented much later. Okay, so initially the knowledge was transferred from one generation to another generation, okay, through this oral medium. This is point one. And the second important point is, when we talk about written records, so this might be possible that these written records might destroy with the passage of time. Clear? So it is very difficult, okay, to get all the written records all together. And the third important limitation here is that, okay, written records, many a times we see that the falsification of data is also an important, okay, limitation of these written records. There are some biases, prejudices, and exaggerations in these written records. All this you will learn later. So this is the first lecture, so it will take time. Okay, so this point I am saying that written records present us a picture, but this picture is not a continuous picture. There are various dots. Okay, it means that we try to construct a picture, but this picture is not complete, it's not continuous. There are many breaks, there are many dots in this picture. So in this situation, okay, the role of archaeological remains, material remains, becomes very much important. And I have already discussed in my previous videos that Marxist historiography had a great contribution in the interpretation of Indian history. And these Marxist historians, they emphasize mainly, it means that all these three sources are important, but the Marxist historians, okay, they placed these archaeological sources or material remains as one of the most important and authentic sources to reconstruct our Indian past. Okay, and many a times what we see, that whatever the knowledge and information we have gathered from the literary sources, it will further be supplemented by archaeological sources. That is called corroboration. Okay, it means the knowledge and information that we gather from the literary sources, okay, when it is corroborated with the archaeological sources, it gives a more clear picture. But the picture gets confirmed, or the story becomes more authentic, when it is further verified by the foreign accounts. So we will say that all these three sources are important. Clear? But the most important is material remains, archaeological sources. Okay, there are some challenges with archaeological sources also. There are some challenges with literary sources also. There are some limitations of foreign accounts also. So we'll discuss one by one. So here when we are reading ancient Indian history, the challenge is more, because in ancient Indian history there is one part that is called prehistoric times. Okay, it means that in prehistoric times there was no any script. Okay, so it becomes very much difficult to get an assessment of the past. So for that period, okay, we have only one source, and that is what? Archaeological source or the material remains. Okay, so I hope you are getting my point, that in order to ensure historical authenticity and in order to establish reliability of the facts, we need these sources. Okay, so many historians had also many important opinion regarding these sources. For example, one historian, Upinder Singh, okay, is very popular because one book of Upinder Singh, that is A History of Ancient and Early Medieval India, is very popular among UPSC aspirants, right? And Upinder Singh is having a balanced approach, okay, towards history writing. Okay, and when she wrote history, okay, so she emphasized that in history we need to focus on the study of the past societies, and when we are studying the past societies, we are trying to learn the material culture of the past societies. So in that case, okay, the archaeological sources becomes very much important. Okay, it means that when we combine traditional historical narratives with the conclusion that has been derived from the archaeological sources, so the history becomes more authentic and reliability of facts can be well established. And you will find that the similar kind of ideas has also been shared by Romila Thapar, Irfan Habib, okay, R.S. Sharma, Ram Sharan Sharma. But the historical perspective and the opinion of historians we will discuss in the lecture number 1D. So right now we will focus on only one topic in today's class, and that is archaeological sources. And one more thing I would like to make it clear, that this chapter is like foundation, okay, of your preparation for ancient Indian history. So that's why we will have to give more time. So here we will read about the sources, and when we will come to the successive chapters like Indus Valley, Vedic culture, Mahajanpada, Buddhism, Jainism, Mauryan, later Mauryan, Gupta, post Gupta, and early medieval area, you will find that the sources of history, the questions that are, you can say that interdisciplinary approach based question, where this chapter, for example, when you are reading Indus Valley Civilization, so that chapter has linkages with sources of history. Vedic culture has linkages with sources of history. Mahajanpada era has linkages with sources of history. In the same way, it means that this chapter, okay, is never ending. When we will finish ancient Indian history, okay, we will keep practicing these chapters. And what about mapping? I will discuss it in a separate video, that in ancient India, how to deal with the mapping part. Okay, so now we are going to start with this part, that is lecture number 1A, and archaeological sources. So I think now you are familiar that archaeological sources is chapter number 1A of our syllabus. Okay, so let's discuss the theme in the archaeological sources. But again, before we step into the topic, we need to understand a few basic concepts, because without learning those basic concepts, okay, it will be difficult to understand the topic in totality. And I hope that you might be aware with these basic concepts. Okay, for example, one word that will frequently come across while discussing the syllabus is the primary sources in Indian history. And the second word that will again frequently come across in our discussion will be the secondary sources in our Indian history. So basically one part is what? Primary sources, and the second part is secondary sources. You might have heard these words previously also. Okay, so what is the basic difference between, because we are talking about sources of history, and this nomenclature, this division one is called primary. Why it's called primary and why it's called secondary? Primary means what? Okay, the sources which are like first hand experience for us. So those sources will be called primary sources. Very simple definition, that the sources which are like first hand experiences for us. And here the sources which are like first hand experiences, this can be archaeological sources as well as this can be literary sources. It means that when we talk about primary sources, so archaeological sources can also be primary sources and literary sources can also be primary sources. How? For example, archaeological sources. For example, Ashoka's edicts and inscriptions. Okay, so history about Mauryan period was reconstructed with the help of Ashoka's edicts and inscriptions. So historians used Ashoka's edicts and inscriptions to write the history. So those edicts and inscriptions which were first handedly used to write the history of the Mauryan period, okay, that is called primary source. In the same way, the earliest coins which are known as punch marked coins or the other coins, okay, these are also known as primary sources in Indian history. For example, okay, Indus Valley civilization, when I will discuss about seals and sealings. So these seals and sealings, okay, which were first handedly used to explain, okay, different developments in Indus Valley civilization, they are also primary sources. For example, the excavations at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, the dockyard Lothal, all these monuments, okay, structures, they also are the part of primary sources. Okay, so primary sources may be archaeological sources and primary sources may also be literary sources. For example, you must have heard about samhitas. Okay, for example, Rigved Samhita, Yajurved Samhita, Samved Samhita, Yajurved Samhita, Atharva Ved, Upanishads. Okay, Jataka stories. When I will discuss Buddhism, I will discuss, and here I am assuming that you might have studied general studies. Clear? So I will not say you that, okay, optional history means GS syllabus. No, the approach is different. Yes, there is similarity. We cannot say that both are entirely opposite to each other. This will be not the right thing to say, but it is important to understand that, okay, the approach to read optional should always be different from the approach to read general studies. Okay, so this is a very you can say that basic thing that we need to understand, and after few classes you will realize this. So I say that these all literary sources are what, okay, should be considered as primary sources. You must have heard about a famous book, that is Artha Shastra, that was written by Kautilya. So obviously this is the primary source. You must have heard about a famous book. I am taking the most famous examples only. Indica, and this Indica was, okay, written by Megasthenes. So this should also be treated as primary source. So I think that now you have a basic idea, okay, that the first hand sources which were used to reconstruct the story of the past, they are known as primary sources. Now what about secondary sources? So the definition is very simple. On the basis of these primary sources, what happened? Interpretations and analysis were done. Okay, interpretations and analysis were done on the basis of these primary sources. Okay, so this is what, okay, that should be considered the interpretations and analysis that was done on the basis of these primary sources, that is called secondary sources. For example, when historians write history, okay, for example, when R.S. Sharma, okay, wrote history of ancient India, okay, or the tasks of historian Irfan Habib, Romila Thapar, okay, so you will find that they will do what? They will explore the original sources or the primary sources, and they wrote history of the past. So this is a very difficult task. Okay, for example, if I ask you a simple question, okay, that Do you think that the task of historian, okay, is less challenging than the task of a surgeon? Then you are wrong. The task of a historian is very much challenging. The historian is like a scientist, okay, who do what? Scientific interpretation and analysis by absorbing, by analyzing the past records and the original sources. So this is a very difficult task because historians analyze, historians do interpretation, historians classify the data, historians summarize the informations that are given in the primary sources, and they present us before us. So if there is any book written by R.S. Sharma, R.C. Mazumdar, the book written by D.D. Kaushambi, the book written by Romila Thapar, okay, so we will say that all these books or the interpretations are what? Secondary sources of history. So here what we are doing, okay, if I am teaching you history optional, so which sources I am using? Obviously I am using secondary sources, okay. So this is a very basic concept. So this is one basic concept. I hope you have understood. Now there is another basic concept. Again, this is also a basic concept, second basic concept. So I would like to discuss this second basic concept with you also. For example, okay, here basically we are going to study the technicalities of archaeological exploration, okay. So when we talk about this process, we are calling it the process of archaeological exploration, okay. So there are 4 stages in this process of archaeological exploration. And what are these 4 stages? So one stage is known as exploration. This is stage 1. The second stage is known as excavation. The second stage is known as excavation. And the third stage is known as classification. The third stage is known as classification. And the fourth stage is known as archaeometry. That is the fourth stage. That is what? Archaeometry. So basically there are 4 stages, okay, where we'll try to understand process of archaeological exploration. Why I am discussing this is also very interesting, because many students, they don't notice these 2 terms. These 2 terms are different: exploration, excavation. And why I say you that whenever you are taking any class of optional, any optional, so ask the teacher that we want topic wise lectures, right? Okay, what you should do, what you should demand, that the teacher should teach all the topics that are included in your syllabus, okay. Only printed notes are not sufficient. Printed notes, books, there are abundance of printed notes and books, but the task of a teacher is to discuss the content with you. Once you discuss, your concepts will become more better. You will develop excellent command over your concepts, okay. So you must demand that each and every topic should be discussed in the class in a very holistic manner, okay, because I have faced this challenge during my student times. So I think that, okay, and you will also realize that when you are going in this topic wise format, the learning outcome is much better. Why I am saying that these words are important here to understand? So there is a reason. For example, look at this syllabus. Topic number 1, sources, archaeological sources, okay. So you will have to be very careful, okay. While I always emphasize ki you must focus on reading syllabus again and again. This is topic 1A, which we are discussing, archaeological sources. Now here subtopic is exploration, excavation, epigraphy, numismatics, monuments. It means that all these topics we need to discuss in very much detail. We cannot skip a single subtopic here, and we have to add a lot of things also. Then our concepts will become better. That's why I'm going to explain 4 stages in archaeological exploration. Basically, the first is what? Exploration, and the second is excavation. So this is the reason. That's why I am discussing the concept. So let's start from this part, that is exploration. Okay, so the second part I will discuss later. So the first topic I am taking here, that is exploration. Okay, exploration. Okay, so first you should understand a basic difference between these two things, explorations and excavations. What is the basic difference? So this is first step. Okay, this is first step. Exploration is what? It's like first step, and excavation is, you can say, this is detailed next step in archaeological process. Exploration is first step and excavation is detailed step. It means, for example, we are trying to reconstruct the history of the past, and we are uh, uh, trying to get some archaeological remains or the material remains. Got it? Okay, so these archaeological remains or material remains, okay, lies in the belly of archaeological mounds. It means that beneath the soil, okay, in very deep, these archaeological remains or the material remains, right? So we need to dig that. Okay, that is how we are going to get the excavated objects. But before this, you cannot dig anywhere. ठीक है कि if you think आपको लगा कि in your campus there is some archaeological remains or materials, so there must be some valid logic behind this. Okay, you cannot dig anywhere, you cannot get archaeological monuments anywhere, so there must be some, you can say that, a logic behind this. So basically in the initial process when you are doing archaeological exploration, so in initial process what you will do, what will be the initial process? So first you will do what? You will search for archaeological sites. This will be your very first step, searching for the archaeological sites. Okay, and after this, okay, you will do what? You have to get here artifacts from these archaeological sites. But artifacts are there or not, again it is a very difficult task to estimate. It means that without digging, if we are without digging, if we are exploring that archaeological source material remains are present or not, that is called exploration. Without digging, confirmation of the fact that yes, there is a possibility here we can get material remains. So how you can do it? For that you will have to use some scientific methods. And what could be these scientific methods? Okay, for example, you can conduct field surveys for the same. Okay, that may be one thing. Okay, you can conduct geophysical surveys for the same. Okay, by this also you can get these archaeological remains, idea about this. Okay, you can make some exploratory trenches. This can also be one method. Okay, field survey, okay, will be done here. Field survey I have already written. Okay, now field survey means what? Identifying if there are some visible artifacts there, that is called field survey. ठीक है, field survey. Field survey is a very simple step. When we talk about field survey, it means that identifying or observing very minutely that if there is some visibility of, okay, some archaeological remains or materials there or not, that is called field survey. But this geophysical survey, the second is geophysical survey. It is a very important survey. Okay, because here when you are doing geophysical survey, here what happens, the use of technologies is an important part of these geophysical surveys. Use of technologies. It means that in archaeological exploration, technology is also being used. Artificial intelligence is also being used. And what are these technologies? For example, one technology here is GPR. And what is GPR? So GPR simply means what? Ground penetrating radars. GPR simply means what? Ground penetrating radars. Okay, so these are also used for geophysical surveys. In the same way, there is another important technology that is called magnetometry. Okay, magnetometry. This is also done to conduct geophysical survey. Okay, and it is also very much important to know that artificial intelligence, this is also being used in the field of archaeology. Artificial intelligence is also being used. Okay, and this artificial intelligence helps in what? This artificial intelligence helps in the analysis of data. Okay, this artificial intelligence helps in the recognition of pattern, that is called pattern recognition. This artificial intelligence further helps us in predictive modeling. Predictive modeling. Okay, so all these are the important steps in the process of exploration. Got it? Now, so what I said, that artificial, on the basis of artificial intelligence, on the basis of images that we get from the satellites, or by using drones also, we can detect the buried structure. Okay, and then artificial intelligence is used for data analysis, for pattern recognition, and for predictive modeling. Okay, so this is the point. Okay, so predictive modeling, I have used here a word that is predictive modeling. So when we talk about predictive modeling here, so it simply means that use of artificial intelligence. Predictive, why? Because use of artificial intelligence in the predictions of undiscovered archaeological sites. And then, okay, by analyzing this entire data in a particular historical context and environmental context, making 3D mapping for that purpose. Okay, and many a times it is a possibility that you will get ancient text, and in deciphering those ancient texts also artificial intelligence is used. Okay, for example, in deciphering the ancient texts, how artificial intelligence is used, there is also two aspects for this. First is called OCR, that is called optical character recognition. This is also used to explore the ancient texts. And the second is called NLP, that is called natural language processing, right? So in the study of inscriptions or the written text, okay, you take help of these technologies. And one important significant aspect here is use of LIDAR, okay, in archaeological explorations, or you can say that in archaeology. And what is LIDAR? Okay, so it simply means what? Light detection and ranging. When we are saying LIDAR, it simply means what? Light detection and ranging. Light detection and ranging. This is also technology that is used in archaeology, especially where? In exploration process. So what is LIDAR? Light detection and ranging. It simply means what? It is a remote sensing technology. Okay, so LIDAR is what? LIDAR is a remote sensing technology. It is a remote sensing technology. And how it works? Okay, so this remote sensing technology uses laser impulses. So here what is used? So laser impulses are being used. And why these laser impulses are used? Okay, so this laser impulse, okay, does what? It reflects and it helps in the creation of 3D maps of the landscapes. 3D maps of the landscapes. Clear? And this makes the task of the archaeologist very easier, because there are very dense forest, there are very challenging areas from this climatic point of view. So from here you can easily get the data or 3D map of the landscape with the help of this lidar technology. You can use an aircraft for this purpose, you can use a drone for this purpose, you can also use satellite for this purpose, and then laser impulses are sent to the ground. Okay, and these laser impulses can easily penetrate to the dense forests, or we can say that, okay, vegetations, and they are again reflected back from the surface. And after this, it is helpful in creating a 3D map of that particular terrain, and by this we can get an exact idea about the buried ruins in that particular area. We can also get the idea about the roads and the other settlements from this technology. So this technology is very much useful in archaeology, and it has successfully used in different countries also. Okay, for example, Guatemala, this has been used. Okay, and there are so many places where it has used. So the technology does what? Technology makes the task of the archaeologists easier. It makes the task of the archaeologists more efficient. It makes the task of the archaeologist more faster. Okay, and most importantly, you can get an idea of the archaeological remains without damaging the area where you are trying to estimate that is there any possibility. Okay, and all this is done with an increased accuracy. So this is a very important point. Now this entire stuff that I have discussed with you, okay, is it important for us to write each and every explanation about these technologies? No, we must be familiar with the names. For example, if someone says exploration, you will say, yeah, this is the very first step, and here science and technology, artificial intelligence, all this can be used very effectively. Okay, so this is the very basic idea, that when we are writing answers, we can use these terminologies. Okay, for example, okay, I have talked about ground penetrating radar, which is used in archaeology, right? So the structure has been given here, that there is an antenna, there is a power source, there is a control unit, and with the help of this, okay, this instrument, okay, also uses what? Radar impulses. Okay, and in this way the image of the subsurface can easily be, for example, this object, this is the level of the soil, and this object lying it is buried inside the soil. So without digging this soil, okay, this instrument is helpful in getting that idea that where that particular object is located. So if you know the exact information that where that particular object is located, okay, so without damaging the entire area, you can easily do excavation. So the very first step is exploration, and the exploration is done through GPR, and then the second stage will be excavation, right? So in this way, this instrument is used to locate the objects beneath the soil. This is the entire structure, that how this is used. This is the simple, okay, instrument, right? The ground penetrating radar. Look here, this is the instrument. Okay, simple instrument, and it has made the task of the archaeologists very easier. I've also talked about magnetometry, right? I've also talked about magnetometry. So magnetometry is helpful for what purpose? Look here, this is the soil, okay, and these are the buried drums made up of iron, and with the help of these magnetometries, right, you can easily get the idea that beneath the soil where these buried drums are located. So basically this instrument measures variations in the magnetic field of the earth. For example, if iron drums are located under the surface or below the surface, so these iron objects or the minerals, okay, will do what? They are beneath the surface, and they will cause local distortions or anomalies in this field. Got it? So these distortions can easily be read by these magnetometers. meters, and they can easily locate that where those iron debris or the objects of iron are placed beneath the soil. And in this way, this is called exploration. You can do exploration of the iron objects that are locating beneath the soil, and then you can accurately do the digging of that particular location. Okay, so here technology is helpful or not? Obviously here what we see that the technology is very much helpful, right? So we don't need to enter into very much detail, but I am discussing this much so that you could remember the terminologies, right? This light detection and ranging technology I have already discussed, okay, that how it works. Okay, so this technology creates high resolution models for ground elevation and with a vertical accuracy of 10 centimeters. Okay, it includes a laser scanner. These are the parts of this device, a GPS system, okay, an inertial navigation system, okay, and it is mounted on a small aircraft. Okay, satellites can also be used, drones can also be used for this purpose. Okay, the laser is sent, then it's reflected back, that I have already discussed with you. Okay, and in this way you get an idea. For example, this is the dense vegetation, okay, thick forest, and with the help of this radar technology you can easily trace the roads, the routes, or the building architectures that are present in the dense forest without entering into that particular area. So I think that now this idea is clear, that there are 4 steps in archaeological process. Okay, when we talk about archaeological process, so this archaeological process involves 4 stages, and the very first stage is what? Exploration. So I think that the concept is clear. Now you have a very good idea about the difference between exploration and excavation. Now this excavation is what? So this excavation is the second step, detailed next step. This is called second step, or this is also called detailed next step, because this step is going to be very much important. Okay, now you have the information that this particular area, okay, beneath the soil there are some archaeological objects. Now you have to do what? You will systematically do what? Digging into the ground. Okay, and after this systematic digging of ground, okay, the buried remains, okay, that are related to the prehistoric times or any time period, you can easily bring them out. Okay, and for that, okay, there are different methods that can be used. For example, one method is known as stratigraphic excavation. One method is known as stratigraphic excavation. This is method number 1. And what is done in this stratigraphic excavation? So here very carefully, okay, the layers of the soil are removed one after another. It means you have to remove what? Soil layer by layer. Okay, and finally you will reach to that buried remains. So this is what? One method. The second very popular method that is used here is horizontal excavation. Horizontal excavation. This is the second most popular method, horizontal excavation. What does it means? Okay, so whenever horizontal excavation is done, so this will be done when, okay, the archaeological remains cover very large areas. For example, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. So here what will happen? Horizontal excavations will be done. It means if you need to expose very larger areas, if you need to expose very larger areas, so in this situation horizontal excavation is done. Okay, so in this way you will get an idea about spatial organization of that particular area. And vertical excavation, okay, if it means that small area, okay, and deep trenches. Okay, you will do digging of deep trenches to study the different historical layers. Okay, it means that you will also get the chronological idea here. So here deep trenches, the second is vertical excavation. vertical excavation. So when this vertical excavation is done, so here what will happen? Deep trenches, and with the help of these deep trenches, different historical layers will be unearthed, and then this way, okay, you will get different artifacts, materials that are buried in the soil. So these are two most important stages. Okay, now what is the third stage after excavation? After excavation, the third stage is classification. This is the third stage, classification. Okay, and this stage is also very much important, because now you have material artifacts, you have buried remains and the objects. Now what you will do? So in this stage, okay, the artifacts are very properly cleaned. This is one step. You will do what? You will properly clean these artifacts. Okay, and then cataloging is needed. Okay, so they will be cataloged, they will be cleaned, they will be cataloged, and they will also be properly analyzed. Okay, so this is the stage. Okay, got it? Okay, so you will take parameters of different attributes of these artifacts, and on the basis of these different attributes, you will do what? You will do, okay, cataloging, or you will do analysis. Okay, so this stage, why this stage is very much crucial? Because in the third stage we get a very good idea, and on the basis of that we are able to do interpretation. It means that this stage is very much helpful in the interpretation of cultural context of that site. This stage is very much important, okay, in the interpretation of chronological context of the site. So here this stage is very much important, because here the cultural context and the chronological context, and the chronological context of that site is properly studied. Okay, so past behavior, societal structures, all we are able to gather information in this stage. And finally, the fourth stage is archaeometry. The fourth stage is archaeometry. Okay, and you will keep maintaining running notes. Okay, important points you will have to write in notes. Okay, we don't have to make very lengthy notes. Okay, and whenever we are making notes, so largely you should use diagram and sketches, because very easily you can revise if you are making notes by using diagram and sketches. And second important point, bullet wise, for bullet format, and later I will discuss how to write answer. Okay, answer writing and approach, all this, it is not possible in 1 or 2 lectures. Okay, so I will upload at least 20 to 30 videos, okay, as a demo, so that you could take an informed decision. Okay, because whenever you find any new face na, so you get confused. Okay, you have a general mentality कि नया टीचर को कुछ नहीं आता, ठीक है, केवल बाबा लोगों को आता है, right? So for that reason I am putting videos, okay, so that you could do a better comparison. So what is this archaeometry? Now here we have archaeological materials. They are properly cleaned, catalogued, everything has been done. Now we have to analyze that these archaeological materials belong to which period. This task is very difficult, and that is fourth task. So here various scientific methods are used. Various scientific methods are used to analyze the data, and here data is what? This archaeological material is the data. Okay, if you have to determine the age, that is a very challenging task, determining the age. So what should be done to determine the age? Okay, that which time period these archaeological materials belong. This is a very difficult thing, and for that you will need scientific techniques. So for that, what is needed? Scientific techniques are needed. So in archaeometry, what happens? Scientific techniques are used, okay, to analyze or interpret the archaeological materials. For example, some scientific techniques, I hope you all are knowing the names of these scientific techniques. For example, C14 dating method, carbon 14 dating. This is very popular. I think that each and every student know about this. Okay. The second method is dendrochronology. Dendrochronology. I will also discuss each and everything. Dendrochronology. Okay. And this is called tree ring. Okay. Dating. Okay. This is called tree ring dating. I will discuss with you that why this is called tree ring dating. Basically, these methods are used to determine the age or the time period to which these archaeological materials belong. The third is thermoluminescence dating. This is the third, thermoluminescence dating. Thermoluminescence dating. And the fourth is potassium argon dating. For potassium argon dating. The fifth is uranium series dating. Uranium series dating. All these are the scientific methods to determine this. So there are two kind of dating here. One is called absolute dating, and the second is called relative dating. So in dating also there are two concepts here. In dating also there are two concepts. One is called absolute dating. Absolute dating. Absolute dating simply means what? Okay. The dating which provides us a precise and accurate age, that is called absolute dating. The dating which provides us precise and accurate date, so that is called absolute dating. And what is relative? The word itself explains the meaning. For example, if we have so many archaeological materials, and we want to arrange them in chronological order, got it? So relative dating method will be used. It helps us in the establishment of data in a chronological order. Chronological order. So relative dating, relative dating, this is called relative dating. So two methods are used. So relative dating here, stratigraphy, typology and fluoron dating. Here three methods are used. Important. One is stratigraphy, the second is typology, and the third is fluorine rating. So these are the three methods. So these are used for the dating. So this is also very much important, that we have archaeological materials that are thousands and thousands of years old. So determining the date is also an important factor. For example, carbon 14 dating. What is this carbon 14 dating? So let's discuss this. Only what you need to know is the name of these technologies. In exam it will never be asked ki explain C4 dating method. No, but once you will know these things in detail, so you will be able to remember at least the names which you can use while writing the answer. So carbon 14 dating is basically a laboratory analysis that provides objective as, I told you na, precise as, that is objective as, and estimates for carbon based materials that originated from living organism such as archaeological finds or geological deposits, right? And here in carbon 14 dating method, for example, this definition will make this more clear, that when we say carbon 14, so this carbon 14 is a radiocarbon and it is an isotope of carbon. It is unstable and weakly radioactive. So these are the points, that carbon 14 is an isotope of carbon. It is unstable, it is weakly radioactive. Got it? So carbon 14 is an unstable isotope, and carbon 12 and carbon 13 are the stable isotopes. So here we are using which method? Carbon 14. It means we are using unstable carbon method. Why? There is a reason behind this. For example, why we can say that the plants and animals on this earth, we all assimilate carbon 14. And how do we assimilate carbon 14? So we assimilate this carbon 14 from carbon dioxide. throughout their lifetime. It means we as a human being also, we are assimilating carbon 14 throughout our lifetime. Okay, and when they die, okay, plants or animals, when they die, we are talking about the organic materials, they stop exchanging carbon with the biosphere. It means that this process is stopped. Until we are alive, we are assimilating carbon 14, but when we die, this process stops. Okay, and now the carbon 14, right, content which already has been assimilated, it starts to decrease at a rate, and this rate is determined by the law of radioactive decay. It means whatever carbon 14 that has been assimilated in our body, for example, after my death, if I am not burnt, if I am buried somewhere, and after 500 years, 1000 years, some archaeologists get my skeletal remains. So in that case, what will happen? Okay, so there is a law of radioactive decay, and according to this law, okay, the scientists will observe the time when, okay, this decay started, okay, and on that basis, the date of that organic material is decided, and this is a very precise dating. Okay, and that is why it is said that carbon 14 is continuously being formed in the upper atmosphere by the effect of cosmic ray neutrons. This is not very much important, but these lines are very much important, and they explain very easily that what is carbon 14 dating method. Got it? That we assimilate carbon 14, okay, throughout our lifetime. When we die, this process stops. Got it? And then carbon 14 which has already been absorbed, it start decaying, and according to a law of radioactive decay, the scientists estimate that from which time period this decay has been started, and on the basis of the remaining C14, they use this to determine the age. Okay, so this is the point here. Okay, and the machines that are used in this process, carbon 14 dating method, is accelerator mass spectrometer, that is called AMS, and it is also known as liquid scintillation counter, that is also known as LSC. So these machines are used. Okay, again it has been explained that living organisms absorb this carbon 14 into their tissue. Once they die, this process or absorption stops, and the carbon 14 begins very slowly to change into other atoms at a predictable rate. That is law of decay of radioactive elements, and by measuring how much carbon 14 remains, scientists can estimate how long a particular organic object has been dead, and in this way a precise date, okay, is found. So this is absolute dating method, and this is also known as radiocarbon dating. Okay, the second method for absolute dating I have already explained was dendrochronology. Okay, and in this method, the study of the age of trees, okay, it means the age of trees is estimated on the basis of the records in their rings. That is called dendrochronology. So it is also a dating technique, absolute dating technique, that exploits the annual growth increments of trees to provide a precise estimate of the age. Okay, new cells forms a ring in the trees. They are added to the outer part of the tree trunk during each growing season. The number, width, and the pattern of the rings form certain tree species can provide the age of the wood. Okay, these are the rings here that you show in the trees. You will find when you see the trunk of the tree, you can easily see these tree rings. So on the basis of that, by studying that, the age of the wooden remains is found. Okay, so this is the structure of the tree rings. Okay, then the another method was thermoluminescence, that is also used for absolute dating, and I have told you that this is absolute dating. This is used for the absolute dating, and this is used for dating the potteries. For example, when we will discuss ancient India, we will discuss pottery. Okay, ochre colored pottery, painted grape ware pottery, north black polished ware, red and black ware. Okay, red pottery, black pottery. So we also have some a specific type of pottery for some particular or specific time period. So how it is decided? Okay, so the basis is what, the technique is what, thermoluminescence it is used. Okay, how it is used? Okay, so this is clay, got it? This is clay and absorbs radiation. Clay also absorbs radiation from the nature. Okay, so when clay in the pottery are heated in a kiln, it releases all absorbed radiation as blue light. Got it? It means suppose this is a pot and you want to determine the age of the pot. So what you will do? It is heated in a kiln and it releases all the absorbed radiation. Like our human body also absorbs radiation, clays also absorb radiation. It releases in the form of a blue light, and this blue light is called thermoluminescence. Got it? And in this way, this method is used to, okay, blue light here. Okay, so this is what? A kiln. This is fired. Okay, this is the pottery. Okay, and in this way this radiation is studied, and on the basis of that, okay, the age of the pottery is determined. Got it? So suppose this is also a pottery and this is what? Blue light, thermoluminescence. So in this way pottery age is determined. There is another method, potassium argon dating method, and potassium argon dating, this is also, you can say that the method that is used for absolute dating. Okay, so here how this method is used? So it takes potassium, again potassium is a radioactive element. Got it? And 1.3 billion years for half life of it to turn into argon. Okay, a stable element. Okay, now useful for dating the oldest rocks. This method is used for determining the age of oldest rocks. On the basis of this half life of the potassium, this method has been used. Got it? This is very simple. Now it has been explained here. Okay, got it? So this is potassium argon method. Okay, now this is uranium thorium dating. This method is also used. Okay, again here you can say that rock, you can say structures, the paintings, all this can be studied with the help of this uranium thorium dating. This method is used. Okay, so now what is the crux is that you must know that there are 4 stages in archaeological process. The first is exploration, the second is excavation, the third is classification, and the fourth is archaeometry. Got it? And archaeometry, we are determining the age. Okay, and there are, when we are determining the age or dating, so there are 2 types. One is absolute dating and the second is relative dating. Got it? So in absolute dating, okay, this method is used to get a precise date. Okay, the methods are carbon 14 dating and all this that I have discussed. But there is one type that is called relative dating. Got it? So relative dating, by this relative dating we get what? A chronological sequence of the events, and here we use methods like stratigraphy. Okay, I have already discussed with you. Typology and fluorine dating. So what is stratigraphy? It is a relative dating technique or the method. It is a relative dating technique or method. So this stratigraphy is a foundational concept in archaeology. Okay, and by this study and interpretation of human history is done. Okay, and by this method it is used to analyze the superimposition of the layers in archaeological sites. It means in this vertical digging, okay, it is used to analyze the superimposition of the layers, and by this way we can get a chronology. Now this has been explained here very clearly that, okay, when archaeologists excavates a site, they encounters layers of soil and artifacts. Got it? It means layers of soils and artifacts, the same like we see in the trees. Got it? And then on the basis of this stratigraphy, got it, superimposition is studied here. Got it? And all these technical things are given here in superimposition. Okay, so on the basis of this, chronological sequencing can be established, contextual understanding can be done. Okay, so this is also a very much helpful method, okay, in determining the age, okay, and a chronological data. And the second is artifact typology. This is also a relative dating method. Okay, so it is used by archaeologists to classify artifacts, okay, into categories that are based on shared characteristics. So chronology and cultural patterns, this we can easily study on the basis of that. Fluorine absorption method, this is also a relative dating method. Okay, so fluorine is absorbed into the bones. Got it? It means the older the bones are, the more fluorine it will absorb. And this, by this chemical test, okay, you can get the date of that bones. Okay, so that is the idea. So this is the entire topic here about, this is the basic part, and this has also been included in your syllabus. So I hope that you get this entire idea. Okay, now this part of the syllabus is clear. I have already discussed with you the syllabus portion. This is the syllabus: archaeological sources, exploration and excavation. These two things are clear. These two parts are clear. Now I will discuss, okay, some new ideas here. Okay, epigraphy, numismatics and monuments. Now we are entering into this particular area. And for that, the syllabus only writes what? Epigraphy, numismatics, and monuments. This is what the syllabus has written. But you have to read in a more structured way. That has not written in your syllabus, but still we have to read it in a proper structured way. So now we are going to discuss. Okay, so basically when we are talking about these things, these are archaeological sources. Very simple. These all are what? Archaeological sources. But I will draw here a broad structure of these archaeological sources. Okay, and then the topic will become more clear. Okay, so the first I am writing here inscriptions, and the study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. So I am writing here inscriptions. The study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. So you must know that the study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. So obviously this topic is included here. The second part is that in archaeological sources, coins are also very important. Coins are like stamps of the society. Got it? And the study of coins is called what? Numismatics. So this is also included. The study of coins is called numismatics. And the third point is ancient monuments. This is also archaeological source, ancient monuments. So this is second, and the third is ancient monuments. So these three facets have been included in your syllabus, but we will read a few more things here to develop a broad and holistic understanding of this entire chapter. For example, we can add one more aspect here, and that is sculptures and paintings. They are also very much important sources. So we are adding this part, sculptures and paintings. Got it? And then we will add one more area, that is archaeological remains or material remains. That is also an important part. Archaeological remains or material remains. So I am including one more part, and that is fifth, and that is called archaeological remains. This is also called material remains. Material remains. So here we were talking about sources. Remains are also part of the sources. For example, here what we will discuss? Potteries. In remains, what you are going to discuss? Number fifth. One is what? Potteries. Potteries are archaeological remains. The second is what? Beads. Beads. They are archaeological remains. Seals and ceilings. Beads, seals and ceilings. In the same way, bones. Okay. Bones. Faunal remains. ठीक है, floral remains, vegetations, floral remains, vegetations. All this will come under the category of material sources. And foundations of architecture. Got it? Foundations of architecture. Foundations of architecture. We can also include one part, that is domestic material, occupational material, charcoal. So there are so many things. Domestic material, occupational material. Occupational material, you can include one more thing, that is charcoal. So syllabus only writes this. Okay, 3 subtopics has been written in syllabus, but we are going to discuss all this in very much detail. And this chapter is never ending chapter. It means when you read chapter number next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so everywhere you will find that the things are reflected. So all this basic understanding is very much needed, and it will be revised again and again in each and every chapter. So you need not to worry from this. Okay, that this is becoming more and more complicated. This is not like that. Okay, so you need not to worry about that. Okay, now before I start discussing this topic, okay, a very basic concept we need to understand. And what is that basic concept? In human history, in any particular location, what we generally observe is that people settle, got it? People settle. Then, okay, people leave there, people leave there. After this, when people will start living there, what they will do? People will create institutions. So people settle, people leave, and people also create institutions. People leave, people settle, and people also create institutions. People create physical structures, physical structures. Okay, physical structures. They will construct their houses now. They will create physical structures. Now this might be a possibility that due to some unfavorable conditions, climatic conditions or droughts or anything, this might be a possibility that people will have to leave this place. This is a possibility that due to some unfavorable conditions, unfavorable climatic conditions, due to some unfavorable climatic conditions like floods, droughts or anything. Okay, this might be a possibility that people will leave this place. Okay, so this place is again deserted. Okay, previously it was a no man's land. People came, settle, people leave, people create institutions, people build physical infrastructure, and then the place gets abandoned. Now again it's what? No man's land. Now the place is abandoned. But this might be a possibility that after 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, okay, this process will repeat again. Again some people will come, they will again, this is process number 1. Again this might be a possibility that the same process is repeated here. Again this might be a possibility that the same process is repeated here. Got it? Okay, so this is called history of human habitations. So when this place will be abandoned, so what will happen? Due to some environmental agents, like we can say that wind is such environmental agent, soil is such environmental agent, rain is such environmental agent, what will happen? Okay, these repeated settlements are abandoned again and again. So what will happen? The soil, a heap of soil is accumulated or formed at that place. So there are different layers. Environmental agents, what we see, a heap of soil is accumulated on that place. Okay, heap of soil, and we see there are different layers of human settlements here. Okay, and these heap of soils which you see here, this is known as archaeological mounds. This heap of soil is known as archaeological mounds. We call this heap of soil as archaeological mounds. Got it? It means that this archaeological mound, now this is the belly of this archaeological mound. Got it? And in this belly, what lies? So here what we see that in this belly, what lies? So here lies the history of mankind. What we see that in this belly, what lies? So here lies the history of mankind. Got it? And once you do unearth or digging these archaeological mounds, once you will doing what? Unearth or digging these archaeological mounds. So this is called excavation. This is called excavation, like we have already discussed. And after this excavation, the hidden history of this specific location is discovered. After this, the hidden history of this specific location is discovered. Okay, so by looking at the material remains that are buried in the belly, that is archaeological mound, okay, you can get an idea about the patterns of life, economic conditions, cultural conditions of these people. Okay, so that's why these materials are very much important and they forms the part of history. Got it? And the task of archaeologist is also very important task with this respect. Okay, so it is also, so whenever we say that history is the study of past, basically it is a very careful study of the past, okay, which gives us the idea about the past societies. So history is more like a science or mathematics. And when I am teaching you history, I am able to use extensive sketches and diagrams like physics, chemistry and mathematics. Why? Because when I am teaching history, I am using new approaches. What are changing approaches, I will also discuss with you. Okay, so you will find there are many educators when they will teach history, okay, they will not use sketch diagram, they will narrate stories only. That is old method, traditional method. History is more like a mathematics, and Marxist historians emphasize this thing, okay, that history is not only a mere accumulation of facts. Yes, facts we need to know, but the most relevant facts we need to know, right? We don't need to mug up thousands and lakhs of facts. So whatever I am teaching today in the classroom, just try to find out how many facts I have discussed with you. Okay, the class is appearing more like a science class. Okay, so you must know the right approach to read history. So you will find that history is the most interesting subject. Okay, if you have the right approach to read this particular option. Now we are coming to the very first topic, and that is inscription. So we will cover the topics one by one, and like if you are getting bored, because this lecture is going to be long, because in pre-recorded lectures there is no any duration of the class. I will pick one subtopic and I will finish it. If it takes 1 hour, so the class duration will be 1 hour. If it takes 3 hours, the class duration will be 3 hours. Okay, so the pre-recorded lectures are excellent way for your preparation of history optional. Got it? Because here I teach in a very different manner, unique manner. In live classes, there are 2 hours classes. Got it? In pre-recorded lectures, 1 class, 1 topic. This is my formula. That today I will finish archaeological sources completely, then it will be finished completely. So if you are watching video, okay, then you should take rest, okay, take a tea, and again you should rewatch the video after half hour or 1 hour. But I will teach continuously. Okay, I don't have any problem in teaching, but this is the idea, that once you read a topic, do it, prepare it in a holistic manner, right? So that there is no any need to read for many additional books. Okay, so this makes the task of the student more difficult. Okay, and there is nothing difficult in history. So I never say that I'm only teacher in history, because if you are my student of history and you have attended the classes, my classes regularly, you can also teach history. So history is not that much difficult. Anyone can teach. Okay, but what is needed, the right approach is very much important. So now I'm going to discuss about the inscriptions. Okay, so I will do board work here. Okay, and this makes the class a little bit slow, but I think that notes making should also be an important part of our, okay, preparation. Now when we read ancient Indian history, so generally one topic is prehistoric times, then okay, Indus Valley civilization, then Vedic period, then Mahajanpada era, then Mauryan period, then later Mauryan period, then Gupta, then post Gupta, and then early medieval. This is the general sequence. I will discuss that sequence later. after first chapter. After prehistoric time, I will discuss all this sequence in detail. Now, the foreign interactions, if we consider R.S. Sharma. So R.S. Sharma says Aryan migration to India. R.S. Sharma believes in this theory, but this theory has been questioned. The second cultural interaction we see during this period, Mahajanpada era. Okay. Iranian and Macedonian invasions. Here you will read about Iranian and Macedonian invasions. Got it? And obviously, this will open, okay, the gates to India, and in this way, cultural interactions will also take place. The third major cultural interaction we see is during this period, later Mauryan period. Here we see what? Indo-Greeks, Sakas, Pehlavas, and Kushanas. They are coming to India. Now, history says that when cultural interactions took place here between Indians and Persians or Iranians, here cultural interactions took place. History says that here cultural interactions took place, and this cultural interaction took place between Persians and Indians. This cultural interaction took place between Persians and Indians. Okay. And as a result of this, Indians came to know about the use of art stone. It means that from Persians, Indians learned the use of art stone. Got it? So this is cultural interaction. We are also learning something from the groups which are coming to India. They learned the use of art stone. This is also called art stone. It is also known as part in stone. In technical terminology, this is known as part in stone. Okay. So Indians, okay, started using these part in stone. And we all know that when we talk about stone, so stone is a stable material. Stone is what? So stone is a stable material. We all know stone is a very stable material. Okay. Now, what we see that Mahajanpada area, after Mahajanpada era, we see Mauryan Empire. And this phase is what? Empire building phase. This phase is what? Empire building phase. You will come to know all these things in the later classes, so there is no need to fear. This phase is empire building phase. And in empire building phase, there are big empires. There are big empires. Obviously, there are big empires. So if there are big empires, so there are powerful monarchs or the rulers. Powerful monarchs or the rulers. And these powerful monarchs will issue some proclamations or orders. Okay. It means that the king's proclamations or orders, or you can say that the policies of the ruler, or you can say that what is the outlook of ruler towards its subject. This is the third important point, that what is the outlook of ruler towards its subject. What is the outlook of ruler towards its subject? And the fourth point is that, okay, so how ruler can address the masses. Okay, so if all these things are inscribed on stone, and if these stones are placed, okay, in different corners of the state, so in this situation, for time immemorial, okay, these stones can be preserved and they will keep directing the masses. This is one idea. It means this is a stable material. Okay, so it can be used. And the second important thing is that from the time period of Satavahanas, land grants started. Okay, land grants started. It means suppose ruler, okay, is giving land grants to a person. So that person is grantee. For example, today we have documentations. We sent mails for this purpose. We have some authentic sources where we can keep the records. Ki, I have this record. So at that time, what will happen? The king, what will do? Sending some, you can say, giving some land grants. Okay. So the king is donating the grantee the land, so this can also be written on this stable material stone. Okay, in the same way you will also see the court poets, okay, they will write eulogies about in the praise of the king. Okay, so it can also be preserved for the time memorial by writing on the stone. So historians say that when Indians came in cultural contact with Persians, so they realized the importance of part in stone. In Mahajanpada era, there were powerful empires, there were powerful monarchs, and now there are some needs, okay, that generated, okay, from this powerful monarchical system. And in these needs, what we see that the ruler can effectively use these stable stones, okay, for the writing purpose. Even for the land grants, this can be done. So when you say inscriptions, so if something has been written or inscribed, okay, on a particular piece of stone, that is called inscription. So this is one part, that if on a piece of a stone, something has been written or inscribed, so this will be called inscription, stone inscription. If you are writing on stone, so that will be called stone inscription. If you are writing something on copper plate, so this will be called copper plate inscriptions. If you are writing something on coins, so that will be called coin inscriptions. Got it? So this is the meaning of inscription. Got it? Okay, so stone was the most popular medium at that time. So something was written, and during Ashoka's time we read about edicts and inscriptions of Ashoka. So what is the meaning of edict here? Okay, so the inscriptions which serve the purpose of royal order, that is known as edicts. This is the basic difference. It means that when we say edicts, so edicts are also inscriptions, stone, piece of stone on which something has been written, but they are like royal proclamation or the order of the ruler. Okay, that's why we are calling them edicts. So there is two difference here, inscriptions and edicts. Okay, so all edicts are inscriptions, but all inscriptions are not edicts. So during Ashoka's time, these edicts and inscriptions were used on a massive scale. Okay, so earliest inscriptions are the inscriptions of Ashoka. And what Ashoka did, this ruler we are going to read in Mauryan period again. Okay, so darna nahi hai. This is the first chapter and discussing everything. So that's why I am getting so many references, because once you are habituated of discussion and getting lectures in this way, your writing confidence will be boosted up. Okay, and this is stage 1, foundational stage. There is a stage 2. I have already discussed in my introductory lecture, consolidation phase. There I will discuss questions and interdisciplinary approach, and I will also release at least 10 videos that how I am going to work with you in the consolidation stage, so you will get the idea about the quality of our classes. So Ashoka was the famous Mauryan ruler, okay, and he is also known to propagate his policy of Dhamma. He is also very popular because we all know that 14 edicts, okay, and stone pillars, okay, all these are the Ashoka's famous. Okay, so we see that Ashoka did what? Ashoka put up these pillars in public places where people could gather easily, where people could see these pillars easily, where people could easily see what is inscribed on these pillars. Okay, so in this way the people could easily read, they could easily get the idea that what is the command of the ruler for the people. They can easily get this idea. And Ashoka was very smart person. What he did, when he inscribed, put stone pillars and something was written that was like royal command, he used the languages that are commonly spoken by the masses. For example, Prakrit was the very popular, so you will find most of the edicts and inscriptions of Ashoka are using Brahmi script and Prakrit language. Okay, Prakrit, Greek and Aramaic we all see. In northwest part there is Kharoshthi script, but we see that Brahmi script and Prakrit was used here. Got it? So we get very famous examples of rock edicts, we get very famous example of pillar edicts. Okay, so this is what inscription. All this will come under the category of inscriptions. And by this rock edicts, we also get some important information or idea about the biography of Ashoka, right? That in his early days, Ashoka fought a very gruesome war with Kalinga. Okay, and after this, okay, his remorse due to the bloodshed in this war of Kalinga, and then Ashoka was inclined towards Buddhism, and then he propagated his Dhamma. Okay, his compassionate attitude towards others came after this Kalinga war. Okay, what he expect from his citizens, we also get these important ideas from, okay, the edicts and inscriptions of Ashoka. That is an important point. Okay, during Gupta period, we see these there are various inscriptions, okay, which gives us a very good idea about the standardization of the Sanskrit language. During Chola's rule, Pallava's rule, and Chalukya's rule, we see that these rulers extensively used inscriptions to record, okay, or to maintain or keep the records of the land grants. They gave land grants to the temples, so temple donations and royal decrees are there, and these inscriptions are written in Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu language. So obviously they are also very much important source of our information. Got it? So I think that you have got some idea, and the study of these inscriptions is called epigraphy, right? So that is the very first point that I have discussed with you. Now some famous inscriptions in history. Some famous inscriptions in history. I am just telling you because here you need to know some examples only, but all these inscriptions are important for your prelims part also. Here I am not elaborating all this. I will discuss in the classes later, but here I am giving you references. For example, okay, one very famous inscription is Nane Ghat inscription. Nane Ghat inscription. All these are very much important for your prelims examination. I am not explaining here in detail, but this is an idea. I will discuss it in later classes in my optional program. But GS students, you must focus on most important inscriptions in ancient India. This is also known as Naganikas or Nayanikas. Naganikas, Nane Ghat inscription. Got it? And it gives information about, okay, various sacrifices. It gives information about various sacrifices. There are other informations as well, okay, that were performed by a ruler, and that ruler was belonging to Satvahana dynasty. The name was Satvahana king, okay, and his name was Satkarni first. Satkarni first, okay. There are other informations as well. So this is called Nane Ghat inscription. It means that it gives us information that some Vedic sacrifices were performed by this ruler, Satvahana dynasty ruler. Now what you need to do while reading history, for example reading Nane Ghat inscription, so you must know that what is the location, why this Nane Ghat inscription is this much famous, what is the significance, what are the important informations that we derive from this Nane Ghat inscription. You should know this. Okay, so it will be helpful for your prelims also, and while writing answers in mains also, if you get very difficult question, you can easily handle that question. In the same way, there is another famous inscription that is known as Gautami Balshri and Yagyashri Yasatkarni inscriptions at Nasika caves. Got it? So Ashoka's inscriptions, edicts and inscriptions. Okay, Gautami Balshri inscription, Yagyasri Satkarni's inscription, Nane Ghat inscription, Kharvel inscription at Hathi Gumfa, Kharvel inscription, Hathi Gumfa inscription. Okay, what are important mentions you must know. Got it? Harisen's inscription. Okay, Prayag Prashasti inscription. This is also a very popular inscription. That is Harisen's Prayag Prashasti inscription. So you must know this. Okay, that in Harisen's Prayag Prashasti inscription, we get important information about the adventures and campaigns of Samudra Gupta. Got it? So inscription gives us a very good idea about, okay, some, you can say that political, okay, system of that period. Ravi Kirti's a whole inscription. Ravi Kirtis, a whole inscription. This is also very much important. Ravi Kirtis, a whole inscription. Got it? So by these inscriptions, we get a very important idea about the political history of that particular time. We get very important idea about the religious and cultural aspects of that particular time. We also get very much important idea about the economic history, about the evolution of the languages. Okay, and with these inscriptions we get important historical events. It is very helpful in chronological arrangement of important historical evidence. Got it? So the study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. Ashoka's 14 edicts, inscriptions, pillar edicts, royal proclamations, all are the example of inscriptions. Got it? There are donative inscriptions. Land grant donations are also recorded in inscriptions. There are commemorative inscriptions. Commemorative means what? If a ruler gets a military victory, okay, so he will commemorate this military victory by writing inscription. Or if a ruler construct any temple, okay, so this event will be commemorated by writing inscription. That is called commemorative inscription. In the same way we get religious inscriptions. Example is Sanchi Stupa. We get eulogistic inscriptions where the ruler's achievements have been exaggerated. For example, Prayag Prasasti inscriptions, okay, Ravi Kirtis, a whole inscription. Okay, so these are different examples of these inscriptions. Now you have got some idea about inscription, but there are also some challenges while deciphering these inscriptions, because okay, these inscriptions are also subject to weathering, okay, due to the climate conditions and all this. There are chances of falsification of data. There are exaggerations because there are prashastis or usologies. There are chances of misinterpretation. Okay, so there are some important challenges associated with these inscriptions also. For example, let's take the example of land grants. Suppose I am a ruler and I am giving you a land grant. Okay, so you are a grantee. Okay, or if I am a ruler and I am giving land grant to some particular temple, so this record will be written on an inscription. And on that inscription, if we divide the major components of the inscriptions, that what is there, so one thing could be the issuer. For example, I am issuing, so I am the issuer. So what is the religion of issuer? What is the gotra of issuer? What is the purpose of this land grant? This will be written. Okay, what is the extent of this land grant? Okay, what are the rights associated with this land grant? What are the privileges associated with these land grants? Got it? If someone trespasses or violate this land grant, so what are the punishments? This might also be possible that this will also be written on that inscription. Many a times we find that on the donative inscription that is related to the land grants, many a times we see that the king's biographical sketch is also there. So it is also helpful in exploring the genealogy of the ruler. Okay, it also explains some details about the kingdom of the issuer or the ruler. So this is what inscription. Okay, stone inscription. Can you write 50 words on this inscription epigraphy? Okay, so I hope that you can easily write. Now there is another part. If you are using, for example, if for inscribing you are using the material stone, so that will be what? A stone inscription. But if for inscribing, if you are using the material that is copper plate, so in this case that will be called copper plate inscriptions. This will be called copper plates inscriptions. So these copper plate inscriptions were mainly used for land grants. Okay, so if we see these copper plate inscriptions, they were mainly used for land grants. So we can say that they were donative inscriptions. They were what? Donative inscriptions, mainly used for land grants. Got it? Now, a very interesting event. Generally, this copper plate inscription, we see that generally there were 3 pieces of copper. Suppose these are 3 pieces of copper. Got it? And they are tied with a very thin copper wire. They're tied with a very thin copper wire. Okay, and you will find that the writings on this copper plate, this part there are the writings, this part you will see the writings, this part you will see the writings, this part you will see the writings. But on the uppermost part and the lowermost part of these three plates, there is no writing. There is no writing. There is no writing. Why? On the uppermost part and the lowermost part, there is no writing. Because there is a reason that there are chances that with the passage of time, the uppermost part and the lowermost part, if you have written something, so this can be blurred with the passages of time, and that is why nothing has been written. Okay, in order to preserve and protect the writings here. So generally this is the pattern here. When we say copper plate inscriptions, so generally there are three plates, okay, and they are tied with the thin copper, okay, wire, and these are basically donative inscriptions related to land grants. Got it? But they are not only donative inscriptions, but many a times we see that these copper plate inscriptions also gives us detail about socio-economic condition of the people. They also gives us detail about socio-economic condition of the people. Socio-economic condition of the people. I will give you a very famous example that is also very much important for prelims student, and that is Sagaura copper plate inscription. Sagaura copper plate inscription. Got it? This is very famous. Okay, in prelims you will read about this, that it tells us about the drought and the measures taken by the state authorities, okay, to handle this challenge of drought. Okay, so obviously socio-economic condition we also get, and majorly we see what, that these were the donative inscriptions. Okay, donative inscriptions. What are the details that are given here? All this we know. Now can you write inscriptions? Okay, the significance or importance of inscriptions in the reconstruction of ancient Indian history. Can you write 150 words? So write this question, that discuss about the significance of inscriptions in reconstruction of India's ancient past. Got it? So while writing answer, you will use the facts as examples. Got it? Now you know so many examples: Ashoka's edicts inscriptions, Samudragupta Prayag Prasasti, Ravikirti is a whole inscription, Kharvel Hathi Gumpa inscription, Sogora copper plate inscription, okay, Naneghat inscription. So here you don't need to elaborate. You need to write the common features, general features, and in examples you will use these names. But I will suggest you that for prelims you must prepare the inscriptions topic in detail. This year 2025, those students who are appearing, also make a separate list of the inscriptions. Got it? Try to understand, okay, those what is written, in what context it has been written, so you will not forget. Once you will read it in a proper manner, you will not forget. Okay, when we read history, you purchase some notes from the market, bullet form, some informations are collected, many informations are missing, so we keep mugging up those informations, but finally we usually forget after 1 or 2 months, because that is not the right way or the right approach to study. Got it? So whenever you are studying, read in a holistic manner. Now the second important aspect that was included in your syllabus was, after inscriptions, this part, that is coins. So let's discuss, okay, the coins in detail, so you will have an idea, because each and everything we will discuss in later, because coins bhi aayega aage, but here we need to discuss. If it is included in syllabus, so obviously we are going to discuss, because this is our format, each and every topic we are discussing here. Okay, now here the history writes that the Mahajanpad era in Indian history, that is 600 BC, 300 BC period, and here the use of earliest coins were seen. The use of earliest coins were seen, and these earliest coins were known as PMCs. or we can say punch marked coins. So the use of earliest coins were seen. Got it? Okay. And what we see that I told you that in ancient India different foreign groups came to India. For example, during later Mauryan period, that is uh, 300 BC to 200 AD period. This is the later Mauryan period. We see ISPK, Indo-Greek, Shakas, Pehlavas and Kushanas. They came to India. Got it? So cultural interactions, and by this cultural interactions, okay, Indian dynasties came up with the fully developed coins. It means we during the Gupta period, you will see there are fully developed coins. So we also have some impact and interactions from these foreign groups. Okay, so as a result of this, later what we see that the Indian dynasties did what? Indian dynasties were successful in using the fully developed coins. So here what I am emphasizing is the role of cultural interaction that is focused by the Marxist historians also. Got it? This is the point. Now, coins are very much helpful in the reconstruction of our ancient past. So the role of coins is very much important in the reconstruction of our ancient past. How? So we can say that first important thing, these coins tells us about the rulers or the kings and their dynasties. So we get important information about the rulers, the kings or the dynasties or the rulers. Okay, so when we try to reconstruct history with the help of other literary sources, so at various points we see that informations are not continuous. Okay, so for connecting the dots, the informations that are given in coins is used. So on this basis we can make the genealogy of the rulers, right? So this is very important in this context. Got it? And obviously if coins are used, so this might be possible that metals will be used, okay, in these coins. Copper might be, okay, silver, gold. So this also gives us an idea that ancient people were expert in metallurgical skills. And when we say metallurgical skills, obviously we are talking about technological development and changes during the ancient India. Now, the proportion of pure metals in the coins, it also gives us some important idea. For example, proportion of pure metals in the coins. For example, during Kushana period and Gupta period, we see the gold content in the gold coins is very much high. This shows the economic prosperity during this period, that during Kushanas and Gupta period, the gold content in the coins is very high, and this shows the economic prosperity. And during Gupta period itself, when you will divide Gupta period into two parts, earlier phase and later phase, so you will see that later phase, what happens, okay, is that there is a decline in the gold content of the coins, which indicates that the economic prosperity was also decline. So this is very simple to understand, that coins gives us the idea about the technological development, about use of metal, metallurgy. Coins also gives us important information about the economic prosperity of that particular phase. Coins also gives us important information about the kings, dynasties and all this, and this is very much helpful in making the genealogy of the rulers. Okay, now the area from where these coins have been found, this is also very much important. For example, okay, the discovery of punch marked coins which are found in north from the Deccan region. Okay, it means the PMCs, punch marked coins that are used in north, they are also located or found in the Deccan region. What does this indicate? The linkages between North India and the Deccan. It indicates the relationship between North India and Deccan. Got it? In the same way, if you find that, okay, it means the trade relations, economic relations between North and Deccan, contact between North and Deccan, South India. Suppose if you find Roman coins in Deccan region, okay, during Satvahana period, it means that during Satvahana period, Deccan region, okay, has trade relations or economic relations with Rome. So it is indicating towards India-Roman trade. Okay. So are they giving important informations about aspects of trade and economic relations as well? Yes, they are also giving us important information about the aspects of trade and economic relations. And many a times we see that religious symbols or figures of deities are also found on these coins. So what does this indicate? Religious figures and symbols of deities on these coins. Okay, they indicate the religious outlook of the ruling dynasties, that the ruling dynasties had patronized which particular religion. Okay, for example, okay, when we observe Gupta coins, so we see what? Okay, the symbols are related to a deity, and that deity is known as Vishnu. Okay, Garudhwaj type of coins. So it indicates that the ruling class, okay, was inclined towards Vaishnavism. Okay, or they are believing in this cult of Vaishnavism. Many a times we also see the titles that are indicated on these coins. For example, the titles of the Gupta rulers, like Param Vaishnav, Param Bhagvat. Got it? It indicates their inclination towards Vaishnavism. It shows their religious outlook. Many a times the coins also reflect the personality of the ruler and the interest of the ruler in a particular cultural activity. For example, the personality of the ruler. Okay, there is a Gupta ruler, the name is Chandragupta II, and one of the coins indicate the image of Chandragupta II as lion slayer. Okay, lion slayer, it means Baghanta. It means that it predicts the bravery and braveness of Chandragupta II. In the same way, okay, Samudragupta playing Veena, it shows the interest of Samudragupta in art and culture. Got it? So this is very important, that coins gives us a lot of information. Okay, got it? Economic prosperity, about political system, basically the name of the rulers, genealogy, interests of the rulers, religious outlook of the rulers, religious outlook, the state is patronizing which particular religion. All this we need to understand. So when we'll discuss the chapters later, this is the very first chapter and this is basic. So here you will find that a lot of informations are mixed. Okay, generally teachers skip this chapter or they take 1.5 hour to discuss, but I will take complete 3 classes, 4 classes to discuss this entire chapter. Okay, and I will use this model. I always prefer that when we are learning something we should try to discuss a lot, and this will develop our understanding. Got it? This is very much important. So in our classes we'll discuss about the Indo-Greek coins in detail. That is very much important. We will also discuss about the Kushana coins. That is also very much important. We will discuss about the PMC's punchmark coins during 600 300 BC, how the development of coins took place. We'll also discuss about the coins that developed in South India during the ruling dynasties of Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas. So this all will be very much helpful for you. Okay, and how these system of coinage contributes. So it gives us economic insights, it gives us some idea about the political history, about the ruling class, it gives us some idea about the religious and cultural aspect of the state. It also gives us some idea about the script and the development in the languages. It also gives us some of the idea about the technological advancement of that particular period. Okay, so this is the system of coinage. Now there are some limitations as well. Okay, because the discoveries are very much limited, wear and tear, we see the forgery limitations. Okay, preservation issues are always associated with these coins. So I think that this part is clear. Okay, so we have discussed, and the study of the coins is known as numismatics. Got it? So you can write one question here, that write about the significance of coins in the reconstruction of India's ancient past. 150 word. Got it? Write about the significance of coins, or you can also write that, write about the importance of numismatics, okay, in rediscovering India's ancient past. So this can be one thing. Now the next, this part I have discussed with you, this we have already discussed, it has been included in your syllabus. Very first chapter. Okay, So we have discussed these two main aspects in the syllabus: inscriptions, coins. Now I am going to discuss this part, ancient monuments. Got it? Ancient monuments. So let's discuss ancient monuments. That is the third major part of your syllabus, ancient monuments. Ancient monuments. Okay. देखो, when we talk about ancient monuments, basically we are discussing architecture, building activity. We are discussing architecture. Then you should have a very basic idea that, okay, there are two kind of architecture or monuments. One we can categorize that one is secular architecture. We can also call it secular monuments. One is secular architecture or monument, and the second is religious architecture or religious monument. One is secular architecture and the second is religious architecture or religious monument. And in religious monument also you can divide it into two parts. One is the monuments of heterodox religions like Buddhist stupas and all this, right? One part is what? The monuments of heterodox religions. Monuments of heterodox religions like Buddhist stupa, and the second is Hindu temples. Hindu temples. So this topic we will discuss in detail in our classes, but here I will give you a brief outline. Okay, so because it has been included in the very first chapter, that's why we are discussing. Now I am starting the story from the very beginning, when there was stone ages in history. So in stone ages, what happened? Okay, people took shelter where? The people took shelter in the caves. In stone age, people were taking shelter in caves. Great. Later what we see that after a long period of time, people learned domestication of animals and domestication of plants as well as agriculture. And then after this knowledge, the people started shifting to the plains. This will happen because agriculture, you will have to shift towards the plains. This will compel them to shift to the plains. So Neolithic period is the time period. This is the Neolithic period. I will discuss it later. All these are the later chapters. Neolithic period, what we see that the cultivation or the system of agriculture started during this Neolithic period. Agriculture started. Got it? It means that this is beginning towards settled habitation. When we say agriculture, it means agriculture is the beginning towards settled habitation. And with this settled habitation, what will happen? Construction of houses or the shelters will start. But initial stages, the houses which will be constructed here will be made up of perishable materials like wood, like grass. Got it? The people will also make post holes to live. The people will make their houses at the tops of the tree, or they will make the simple huts. Got it? And these perishable materials, since they are perishable, okay, so we find nothing of that. We don't have any references. But during Indus Valley civilization, we see that the situations change, and now the people started using burnt bricks, and this is a revolutionary change. Now the people were constructing houses, got it, and they were using burnt bricks. Okay, and obviously burnt bricks are not perishable, so they will survive. And as a result, we see that Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization came into existence. That is an important point. Got it? So when we read Indus Valley civilization, we see the architecture in Indus Valley civilization. This is the next chapter. That's why I say, Parishan mat hona, this is a very first class, and this lecture will appear you very much beneficial once you finish this entire ancient Indian history. So you will find this lecture very much interesting. Or those students who have already completed history optional course anywhere, so they will find this lecture very useful for them. So Indus Valley civilization, we see a rectangular grid pattern, long wide roads. We see a ritual bathing, great bath structure. We see water tanks. We see artificial water reservoirs. Got it? We see common houses. We see the city division into upper citadel and lower citadel area, we see fortifications. All this indicates what? Construction. But all these constructions and buildings were secular. Got it? Because no temples were found during the Indus Valley civilization. In prelims also, UPSC has previously asked this question, that Indus Valley civilization, temples were found or not? The answer is no. Got it? When we move ahead in history, Mauryan period, post-Mauryan period, you will find large fortifications, Patliputra, Kumarar remains of the palaces, Nagarjun Konda, there was a stadium that was found. Okay, so when we move ahead, we find again many other examples of the secular buildings or the monuments. So when we look at the architecture of these secular buildings and monuments, what is the information that we generally derive? So we derive the information about the civic sense of the people. Okay, looking at these structures, we can also get the idea about the personal hygiene of these people. Looking at these structures, we can also get some idea about the socio-economic condition of that particular period. We can get some idea about the water management plan. We can get some idea about what was the defense strategies of these people. Got it? So this is called secular architecture. So in monuments, one category is what? Secular. Got it? Construction of houses, for example, dockyard in Lothal, that is what? Secular architecture, right? You will find great granaries, okay, that is secular architecture. Okay, remains of palaces found from Kumrar, that is secular architecture. Okay, but the second category is religious monuments. Got it? And this religious monument is divided into two parts. The second category is the religious monuments, and this religious monuments is divided into two parts. One is monuments that are related to heterodox religion, and the second is Hindu temple. Now, heterodox religion, we are talking about Buddhism. Generally, we are talking about Buddhism. So, what is the story? Okay, so what we see, that it was a Mauryan period in ancient Indian history that we see that the religious monuments started taking shape. And the story started with the Ajivika sect. Okay, we all know that Barabara and Nagarjuni Hills caves in Bihar were donated to Ajivika. So the story started with the Ajivika sect. Okay, later we find many Buddhist monuments, Buddhist stupas, Chaitya, Vihar. All these are the religious monuments related to the heterodox religion. And from Gupta period, what we see, the beginning growth of the Hindu temples, but the initial phase of the development is seen during the later Mauryan periods also. So the journey starts with the stupas. Okay, and stupas, okay, we all know about the stupas. Okay, the construction of stupas started from the North India. Okay, and later from North India it shifted to Gujarat, then Maharashtra, then Odisha, and then Andhra Pradesh. So you will find many stupas were constructed in North India. About Ashoka, it is popularly said that he alone was successful in constructing more than 84,000 stupas. Then in Gujarat, you will find such Buddhist stupas, Maharashtra, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh. Okay, and in the structure of stupa and all this we'll discuss in our class. You will find Torana or the decorative gateways in this stupa. Okay, Sanchi and Bharat stupa are the famous stupa in Madhya Pradesh. Amaravati stupa, famous stupa in Andhra Pradesh. Got it? Okay. And Sannati stupa in Karnataka. All these are the important stupas. In Buddhist architecture, the second part is Chaitya. And Chaitya are like Buddhist temples or the worshipping places. Okay. So what we see, that Chaitya, okay, in initial stage, these Chaitya were created inside the caves. For example, you will find Bhaj, Bedse and Karle caves. So you will find that the chats are located inside the caves. So in initial stage, what we see, that the chats are located inside the caves. And what are viharas? Viharas are the residential complex for the Buddhist monks. Okay. So initial stage, what we see, for example, Kanheri, Nasik, Junnar. Okay. All these are the example of the viharas. Got it? Okay. So in viharas, there was Chaitya. Also in the campus, in the residential complexes, Chaitya means worshipping place. So there was worshipping place also. But under the influence of Mahayana religion, what happened? The Chaitya in the viharas was replaced with the statue and idol of the Buddha. Okay, so this happened under the influence of Mahayan sect. Okay, and this can better be witnessed in Ajanta caves. Okay, so this is the point. So what we see that when we look at the Buddhist shrines, either this is stupa, chet or vihar, so what information do we get? So we get an important information about the development of religious thought and ideology during this period. We get an important information that how this Buddhism has spread, okay, from North India, okay, to South India. Okay, what is the course of development? How Buddhism was influenced by many other religions and how Buddhism was successful in influencing many other religions. We'll also read about the monastery, about the Sangh. We get many important information about what was the relation between the monastery and the traders. Got it? Okay, we get many important information about evolution of architecture, many stylistic features that were added in this architecture, how the growth of art took place in this architecture. We will read about the decorative motifs that were found on these gateways. Okay, flora, fauna, okay, artistic styles and aesthetic sense of people. We can get excellent idea from this, okay, structure. So this is called, okay, heterodox religion, the religious monuments that are related to heterodox religion. Now this Hindu temple, this is also a religious monument. The story is very simple. The main development in Hindu temple started from the Gupta period. Got it? This is the time period when main developments were started. North Indian temples were generally known to have constructed on Nagaraj style. This we'll discuss later in our classes. The important, you can say that a part in the temple architecture is Garbhagriha, sanctum, sanctor, and Mukh Mandal, frontal space, right? Initial temples we see Tigwa, Nachna Kuthar, Devgad, all important, right? Here we see complete structure of the temples were found here, right? Separate temples, okay? Tigwa, Nachna Kuthar, Devgad. Here a complete temple structure has been found in which there was Pradakshina Path also. Got it? Deccan and South India, we see the beginning during the time of Chalukyans. Chalukyans experimented in this temple architecture. They started from the rock cut temples that we see in Badamis and further developed separate temples. Okay, and Chalukyan separate temples example are famous example of these temples are Pattadakal and Ehol. Then we see Pallavas. Pallavas also started construction of temple, but initially it was rock cut fashion. Okay, for example, the most famous temple of Pallavas is the Ratha temple at Mahabalipuram. Then at the time of Cholas, we see the huge temples were constructed. Okay, Rashtrakutas. Okay, learning from all these above experiments, they also promoted construction of temples, and the most famous example of these Rashtrakuta temples are the Kailasha temple, okay, at Ellora. Okay, so what we see that in Deccan and South India, in the construction of temples, stone slabs were used while the construction of shikhar, and they were put in a particular style, a step by step style. Okay, so they gave us an information like they gave us an impression like a squat impression, and this particular feature style is known as Dravida style. So in our classes architecture will discuss Nagara, Dravida, Vesara, all this in very much detail. Okay, so my basic idea here was to make you familiar that these monuments are also an important source for the reconstruction of India's history, and they are primary sources. Got it? You can go to the temples, historic temples, and by looking at the sculptures, by the paintings, by artistic features that has been included in these temples, you can easily have some idea, you can easily understand that how the growth of religious ideas took place during the ancient India. You can also understand about the idea of change by looking at these monuments, and the idea of change is very much important. We need to understand the idea of change when we are reading history. We can learn that how different other cultures influenced Hindu religion and how Hindu religion influenced different other cultures. So we can get a better and accurate picture of the cultural interactions, okay, if we read and study these temples. Okay, so this is the all topic that has been included in your syllabus. I have finished. Now just we are looking at the syllabus. Okay, So this is syllabus. So I have discussed about, let's look at the syllabus. So you have to be very careful wherever you are attending the classes. So you should request your teachers ki sir, please finish each and every topic. We will read printed booklets, that's a different thing, but each and every topic should be discussed in the classes. Got it? So you will gather some confidence. So exploration I have discussed, excavation, epigraphy I have discussed, numismatics, monuments I have discussed. So this is lecture 1A. But apart from this, I will discuss a few more things also, 1B, and this is 1C. So without discussing a few more things, okay, the topic will not be complete. So I am going to add a few more things in my lecture here, okay, and this will give you further a better understanding. So this is a pre-recorded lecture. You can take break अगर आपको क्लास ज़्यादा लंबी लग रही हो तो. Got it? Now sculptures and paintings, they are also an important source for the reconstruction of Indian history. Sculptures and paintings are also the most important source in the reconstruction of Indian history. Got it? How? So we are starting from the sculpture part. All this we'll discuss in detail in our syllabus. So in Harappan period, you will find, okay, evidences of sculptures. Various materials were used. Stone made stone, steatite, clay, terracotta model clays, and all this you will find. Okay. So we see the sculptures of the toys that were made for entertainment purposes. Sculpture of the cart. Okay. Mother goddess, priest king stone. Okay. Bronze sculpture of dancing girl, we all find. So this started from the Indus Valley civilization period. So these sculptures gives us an idea about the artistic ability of IBC people, about their skill, engineering skills. They are the great sculptors. This also indicates about the technological development, and by looking at these sculptures we can also get some idea about the social beliefs, customs, practices, cultural traditions, and the religious outlook of the people. But in Mauryan period, the famous sculpture is Yakshini sculpture of Didarganj. And when you look at this sculpture, I'm not displaying the images right now here because it will take a lot of time, and in the later chapters I will discuss each and everything in very much detail. So when you look at the sculpture of Didarganj Yakshini, you will find it gives us also the same thing, the idea about the aesthetic sense of the people. Okay, when you look at the stupas at Sanchi, stupas at Bharhut, so you will find relief sculptures, okay, panel based sculptures on these stupas, on the walls of these stupas. So this also gives an important idea about the Buddhist teachings, principles, life of the Buddhas. Flora fauna has been used for the decoration. In the same way, when we reach at the later Mauryan period, so the very famous statue of Kanishka, okay, when you look at the statue, you will find Kanishka, the costume of Kanishka in this sculpture is like he is wearing some high shoes and overcoats, and it indicates the foreign style. Okay, and Kanishka ruler belonged to the category of foreign. For example, ISPK, okay, the foreign groups who came to India, so K means Kushana, and Kanishka was a Kushana ruler. Got it? So this is the idea. Okay, so these sculptures gives us a very important idea. Okay, in Gupta period also there are some sculptures which gives us idea, sculptures of the gods, goddesses. So sculptures gives us idea about the religious ideology of the people. They gives us idea about, okay, what are the different cultural influences on each other. The cultural influences we are able to trace back from the different sources, and on this basis we can just reach at this conclusion of synchronization of various cults. Okay, and iconography. What is iconography? This is a separate branch that studies, okay, the developments, such kind of development. So this sculpture is also a very important source for the reconstruction of history. And what about paintings? Yes, paintings are important source for the reconstruction of history. The story of painting started from Bhimbetka caves. Okay, so Bhimbetka caves, okay, the earliest paintings. So basically upper Paleolithic period, the origin can be traced back to upper Paleolithic period, but majority of the paintings belong to Mesolithic period. The painting themes, what do they indicate? All this we will discuss in our prehistory chapter. Got it? How it gives us a broader idea about the lifestyle and cultural development of the people. When you look at the paintings of Ajanta, so from that also you can get the idea of religious ideology, spiritual serenity, ornaments, costumes, and the foreign visitors, you can also get the idea of this. Okay, so paintings are one of the most important source which gives us an idea about the artistic merit and ability of the people, that what was the aesthetic sense in the minds of the people. When you look at the Chola kings and when you look at the walls of the temples that are located in Tamil Nadu, you will find that paintings have been drawn at a larger scale. So by looking at these paintings, okay, we can get the idea that these paintings are displaying what they are displaying, the concept of divine kingship of the Chola rulers. Okay, so the paintings gives us this information, important information. Okay, so I hope you have get this idea. Okay, there is no any problem. Now the last point here is about archaeological materials. Archaeological materials are very much important, okay, in giving us idea about the sources of history. For example, pottery is there, beads is there, seals and ceilings is there. Okay, floral and faunal remains are there, bones are there. Got it? Okay, so all these are the very much important source also for the reconstruction of past. For example, pottery. In Mesolithic period, some isolated bits of pottery were found. In Neolithic period, complete pottery was found, but the pottery was very much simple. When we come to Indus Valley civilization, we see red and black pottery. So that is a particular kind of pottery. Okay. When we enter into Vedic culture, we see OCP, ochre colored pottery, and PGW, painted graveware. When we enter Mahajanpadera, we see the NBPW, North Black polished ware. It means that when we talk about pottery, so different potteries get differentiated, and they are differentiated according to the respective culture, okay, of a particular time period. And when we look at these potteries, we find there is a great deal of differences in the shapes, in the material or the fabrics that has been used in the treatment of the surface of these potteries, like fabric, color, design, pottery making techniques, right? So we did what? We explored and find out some specific pottery type. And on the basis of this specific pottery type, a particular period in history was decided. For example, I told you that Indus Valley civilization, R and B, red and black pottery. Vedic culture, OCP and PGW. Mahajanpada era, NBPW. So this is the importance of pottery, that pottery are very much important in the reconstruction of, okay, and pottery is known as alphabet of a particular site. Alphabet, like coins are known as the stamps of the society, the pottery is known as alphabet, a particular alphabet of that any particular site. Beads also played important role, bead industry, right? Chanhududo, Indus Valley civilization, I will discuss about this. Okay, beads, seals and ceilings, very precious stones, semi precious stones, glass, metals were used to make beads, seals and ceilings. So the technological development of that period time, we can get the idea that yes, there was technological development and the people had some aesthetic sense. When we look at the remains of bones, so by studying and doing scientific interpretation of the bones, we can get an idea of the dietary habits of the people in ancient time. By looking at the floral remains, we can get an idea about the environment and climatic conditions of the ancient times, and by this we can also get an idea about the dietary habit of the people. Okay, so all this is very much important. Buildings and monuments are important. Okay, so I think that now you have a good idea about the sources of Indian history. Okay, so today we have completed, okay, one topic that is given in our syllabus. Okay, that is topic number 1A, archaeological sources. So our second lecture will be topic number 1B, where I will discuss in detail topic number 1B, where I will discuss in detail literary sources. This is the topic which I have discussed today, and I will discuss here each and everything that is given here, each and everything in detail. Topic number 1C will be foreign account, and lastly I will one topic here, that is historical perspective and PYQs. So we'll cover this topic in a holistic manner. But while reading this topic, okay, you will find that it is a little bit difficult because I am using references from the areas which you have not studied yet. And this is the reason that many teachers skip this topic कि ये तो हमें पढ़ना ही है. But I am not doing this because what is my commitment, that I will teach each and every topic. I will discuss each and every topic, and for that purpose I did not skip it. So I discussed it, the recordings will be there with you. Okay, so one by one we will be moving to the other topics as well. And there is an important part, mapping in ancient Indian history. I will take a separate session on that. Okay, so you could get a better idea that how can you develop an excellent command on the mapping part. Okay, so mapping part you need to tackle very smart manner. Got it? ये उतना आसान भी नहीं है जितना बताया जाता है, तारे दिखने लगेंगे आपको, right? It so you need a proper strategy that how to cover this mapping part, how you can get excellent mark in this mapping part. 50 marks question आता है, that is compulsory. And I think that if you will make a good plan, if you will read in a holistic manner, this will give additional benefit to you, mapping part, because here you will get marks like mathematics, physics, and all this if you are having a good command on the mapping part. And there are some core areas which we need to practice, and that's why I have kept it separately in my classroom program. First I will finish ancient Indian history completely. Got it? And when I will start medieval Indian history, it means paper 1 section B, when I will start from that period onwards, regular practice of mapping, okay, will be done. Got it? It means you will practice 10 sites daily, and those 10 sites that I will decide are very scientifically, okay, designed. Okay, and when you will do practice continuously, means on one side you are getting classroom lectures of medieval India, modern and world history, and at the same time you are continuously practicing maps. So once this entire history optional syllabus will be over, you will have an excellent command on the mapping part. Okay, so this is the point. And I hope that the lectures, okay, I suggest ki if it's possible, get my pre-recorded lectures in history optional, because they are cheaper also. In history of UPSC preparation, I have launched the most affordable course, and this is not compromising with the quality of the classes, right? The quality of the classes, I will say in each and every class, my each and every lecture, go and compare with any other competitor in the market. Okay, so if I am saying this with confidence, so there must be any reason or logic. Okay, so compare each and every lecture that I am teaching you here in my history optional program. Okay, and just keep learning whatever I am teaching you. And about books I will discuss with you later. First let me finish 1 or 2 chapters. Okay, then I will tell you that which books to study for which part, but this is not for you. I will tell you the sources which I am using for teaching. I will tell you the sources that this chapter I am using. For example, prehistory I will teach from Irfan Habib's book. So I will tell you, right? Indus Valley Civilization, which writer I am using, the outlook of that particular writer. So I will tell you. Upinder Singh, which chapter I am using, all this I will tell you. But you don't have to read those books. Okay, once you complete your preparation, you are selected, then if you are enthusiast of history, then you should read all those books. But right now you will be focused and concentrated towards history and history alone. Now some important information, if those who are watching this video for the first time, so there are some important informations for those students. And what is the information here? That you can watch these videos. This video I have already uploaded on my YouTube channel. This is lecture 1, sources for Indian history. Today's lecture was 1. Today I focused on this part right now. Okay, I hope you are getting my point, right? This lecture, it means 2 lectures, L1 and L-1A. All this have been uploaded, and very soon you will get these 2 lectures also. So read. In this way you will get a holistic understanding of entire chapter. Approach to read NCERT and syllabus discussion, this I have already uploaded on my YouTube channel. Watch the video. Ancient India R.S. Sharma Old NCERT, approach to read NCERTs, and 1 lecture I have also included, so you will get some idea. And till June, I think that entire NCERT history books, okay, the lectures will be ready. So before you read paper 1 section A, watch my lectures of ancient Indian history, okay, from NCERT. So this will give you an excellent command. You will not, here I have simplified NCERT without leaving a single line in NCERT. I have discussed NCERT. Okay, it's not summary of NCERT, it's complete NCERT, total NCERT, right? And now this is our course, that is foundational stage course. So this is the fee of live online batches, and right now there is the second option, that is pre-recorded lectures, and this entire lectures will be available at 50% less price than this. It means that only 2,999, okay, you can get the entire pre-recorded lectures of history optional. Okay, so this much quality, okay, and this price, okay, this is impossible. And this is for my first or two. This will not be cheaper for always, okay, because in online industry I am very new, okay, so that's why the people will know me. So just I am offering the courses at very affordable prices. I think that after third or fourth batch the fee will be much higher, so don't miss this opportunity. Grab this opportunity and get the entire courses. Okay, so this is foundational course, 5 to 5.5 months course, okay, and duration will be June to November. Now the second phase will be consolidation phase, December to January. Okay, again pre-recorded lectures will be 50% less than this. Okay, so whatever be the price, you can just you can get the details 15 days before. From 15th May onwards you can contact at this number. Now this is consolidation phase. Here I will discuss all the PYQs and complete and detailed discussions of these PYQs. So this will further enhance your command on that particular subject. And lastly, between the prelims and mains duration, okay, there will be a revision course, okay, and here, okay, 15 full length test, okay, plus entire test will be discussed and the copies will be evaluated by me and me only. So basically whenever we are learning something, okay, so by following a gradual process of development we are able to learn something, right? So we should not rush towards shortcuts, got it? And we should not rush towards chamatkar also. If Herodotus is teaching you, does not mean that he will make history simpler for you. If your elder brother or father knows history and he makes history simpler for you, so he is Herodotus for you. ठीक है, तो इस भ्रमजाल में नहीं पढ़ना है. Got it? So whenever you are taking classes anywhere, okay, all teachers have different perspectives, all teachers are good, but one thing you should never compromise. You should teach each and every topic that is included in syllabus. If you are giving us printed booklets, yes, we will take it, but we will not compromise. If a single topic is a skip, teacher is skipping, you must, okay, ask. So this is 21st century, okay, and you must be like aware consumers. We are selling product to you, no? Okay, so when we are selling products to you, okay, if you are purchasing something from the market, okay, if you have ordered 5 items from Amazon, and if there is 3, you will complain na, ki 2 items are missing. But why this approach is not followed here? Because, okay, mentally you are not prepared for that. And a major chunk of the students, 60% to 70% students are non-serious, right? They are in a hurry ki syllabus kitni jaldi khatm ho jaye. And due to this, the 30% serious students suffer. And my YouTube channel is not for 70% students, it is for 30% students. If you are a non-serious student, okay, in the preparation of UPSC, so this channel is not for you. Just do unsubscribe and don't come to my channel. This channel is only for the serious students of, serious aspirants of UPSC. And you will realize it once you will take my classes regularly. You can also watch my modern Indian history lectures, that is complete modern Indian history lecture. This playlist I have already uploaded, and there are total 56 lectures, and the format that I have used here was bilingual. Now when professionally I am selling course, so English medium courses will be completely in English and Hindi medium courses will be completely in Hindi. And again, an important news I am sharing for the Hindi medium students, okay, that Hindi medium entire history optional course will be free on my YouTube channel. So do subscribe YouTube channel, and very soon the entire lectures will be uploaded. The second good news is that even philosophy optional, and all this will be taught by me only in Hindi medium, will also be completely for free, and I will very soon upload it on my YouTube channel. The recordings are in pipeline. I am doing all this. Okay. So thanks to all of you. Thanks for watching this video.